Hello Ram fam, my name is Jeff Garner and welcome to the inaugural edition of Inside Cleveland Rams Football with Coach Scott Riley. Each week right here we'll be talking about everything related to Rams football. We'll chat about this week's game as well as the upcoming opponent and much more. But before we get into that, let me introduce the man of the hour, the head coach of the Cleveland Rams, Mr. Scott Riley. Scott, how you doing, Coach?
Great, thank you for having me.
It's an honor and privilege to have share this table with you. I'm looking forward to the season. As all the Ram fam are. And to get us going, tell us a little bit of your thoughts about heading into this season.
Well, I appreciate all the praise. I don't know if I've earned it or not, but I appreciate it. We're excited to get started and find out who we really are this Friday.
For the folks that are kind of new to Rams football, Coach, tell us a little bit about your history, what brought you to coaching, kind of what, especially here to Cleveland. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Went through college. I planned to be a lawyer. And we got to my senior year, I was applying for law school, and I just didn't want to give up the sport of football. I wanted to stay involved and teach. Became a history teacher and started coaching at Harnett Central under Coach Mark Morris. And 7 years ago now, the opportunity came available to come over here. We thought it was a great place, good community support, and really liked football. And we wanted to try our hand at starting something from scratch and see what we could do with it. And it also gave us the opportunity to come over as a staff. And stay together. So Coach Morris took that opportunity. All of us came with him, and a few years ago he went on to another opportunity in South Carolina, and we liked it so much that most of us stayed here, and we're happy we did.
Well, we're here at Cleveland. Couldn't be happier to have you. I mean, the success. Obviously, Coach Morris, started us off, but the success we've had here definitely can be directly contributed to you and your staff. And we've just been so successful here, and I'm familiar with the success. I've been fortunate enough to be around it, but tell our audience a little bit about some of the success that we've had and the history that we've seen here at Cleveland.
And ultimately the success, belongs to the players. They're the ones who goes out there and do it. We just kind of coach them along the way. So we've had a great group of players and now alumni that have come through. A lot of accomplishments. I think the overall record right now stands at 53-16, which is like a 76% win percentage. So we're proud of that. 24-3 in conference play, which is like 89% win percentage, and 3 consecutive conference championships, going for 4 in a row this year. The thing we're probably most proud of is 10-4 in the playoffs, which that's where you want to be good at, and, which is an average of 2 years. So that's getting to play on Thanksgiving on average. So that's a big thing for us, and thing we really point to. And this week being a county game week, we really push that. That's important to us, the county championship as well. And we've been fortunate enough to be 21-4 in the county since we've opened.
I mean, there's some schools in the area, but I mean even in the state that have been around way longer than that and haven't had the chance to enjoy that kind of success, especially in the playoffs and all. So we've been blessed here, and again, directly related to you and the staff and the players, like you said. So let's talk a little bit now. We've got the upcoming 2016 season coming up. You guys have already been practicing hard, obviously, for several weeks, and you've actually been a part of 2 scrimmage jamborees, as they like to call it. Tell us a little bit about that and how they've went so far.
Biggest thing with the jamboree, you just want to come out of it healthy. We've had quite a few injuries in that. We're starting to, nothing serious, so a lot of those players are starting to come back. We'll have a few out against Clayton, but we have a lot of youth this year, and we've really been pleased with the way they've excelled in those. And we had quite a few starters out for the Friday scrimmage after the Wednesday scrimmage, and some of those young guys really stepped up, rose to the occasion, and did really well, exceeded expectations that Friday scrimmage.
Speaking of, I mean, has there been a player or two that kind of has distinguished themselves or kind of stuck out to you that's done well for you so far?
Well, I don't want to say surprised because we expect great things out of all our players, but you're really looking for how the younger players are going to develop in those scrimmages. And John Barnes stepped in for an injury on Friday, and he did great. Scored a couple of touchdowns, made some plays, and he's only a sophomore. So, you go in the season expecting him to be a JV player, and he does some good things on varsity. That's a nice surprise. And on the defensive side, another sophomore, Jalen Bizen, has stepped in at linebacker and looked like a junior, senior as a sophomore. And we've been really pleased with those guys, but everyone's done a good job at this point.
When the younger guys sort of step up, and again, I would agree, it's not a surprise, but when those younger guys step up and feel some of those roles that you needed, I mean, that's fantastic for this year, but also for moving ahead in years to come.
Yeah, absolutely. The program is built to, freshman and sophomore typically on JV, but it doesn't always work out that way. So when a sophomore can play and play well on varsity, it really sets you up to get a 3-year starter there, possibly.
Well, speaking of players, Coach, another plan for this broadcast throughout the season will be to distinguish a few of those outstanding players, based on their performance in that week's game, in that week's practice, just how those players have performed, up to that point in the season. And I know we've got some plans to, like I said, to focus on those and actually have maybe some awards or some things that we'd like to talk about those guys about. Tell us a little bit about some of the areas that you'll be pointing out as we go through the season here.
Yeah, I think we're going to do the typical awards of a player of the game for offense and defense and special teams. We're also going to highlight a trench player of the week, so offensive or defensive linemen, because they usually don't get the attention that the skill players do. And we'll also highlight a scout team player, because it's not just the guys that show up on Friday nights, the guys that put in practice and scout the other team's offense. So we want to give them the credit that they deserve. And
that's extremely important. It goes under the radar, like you said, but there's something very special about those kinds of players that definitely can help you prepare for that week's opponent.
Right. And we really harp that, so we want to give them the attention they deserve. And then the award I'm most excited about is a program player of the week, where they're doing the right things outside of the football field, in the classroom, in the hallway, helping people out and doing the right things as the program asks them to do. So we'll highlight them as well.
Well, that's one of the things that I'm happy about, that Cleveland, and again across the board, you guys in football do a fantastic job of that. But recognizing and having the type of players with character that we have here at Cleveland. We've been very blessed, very, very fortunate to have those kind of players. And I know I've been around you, and I've seen the type of person that you are. You put a very high plateau on that type of player, to have that kind of guy in the locker room, around the school, representing Cleveland.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's the program's designed to be that way. They're playing football for 4 years, but we're teaching them to do something beyond football and become better men. Fantastic.
Okay. Also, our plan is, again, to spotlight one of those players or coach. You've got some fantastic coaches assistant coaches on your squad as well. I've been fortunate enough to be around those. Those are high quality gentlemen. So as we move forward this season, that'll be another thing that we'll do in this particular segment, is to have some spotlights on players, spotlights on coaches, so that you, the Ram fan, can get to know them. A little bit of inside information, maybe some fun, maybe some things that you didn't know about these guys. So we're looking forward to that. Okay, Coach, season opener's coming up this Friday. That game's at home. We're fortunate enough to have it at home. It's against crosstown county rival, as you mentioned, Clayton. They obviously have a long and storied history as well. What sort of things come to mind when you're preparing for Clayton and that kind of thing?
Well, obviously it's a big game for our program. Us being in Clayton and being the storied program here, and they still have what we would want, which is a state championship at home with Johnson County to do that. So
absolutely,
it's a big measuring stick game for our programs.
They actually are starting this season with a new coach, and he actually comes over from one of our other rivals in our conference, South Johnston. He came from South Johnston. It's Coach Hunter Jinks. Excuse me. What do you know about Coach Jinks?
Yeah, we squared off. This will be our third game as head coaches against each other, but we're about the same age. We came up as assistant coaches and we faced off against each other several times. He runs a great program. His teams are always well prepared to play us, and it'll be a good contest.
Fantastic. Are there specific, talking specifics here, are there specific points of a Comets offense, and again, with Coach Jinks coming over, maybe a Trojan offense, from South Johnston, but are certain things from the Comets on offense that you're going to pay particular attention to, or that you're looking to see?
Yeah, we definitely went back and looked at the South Johnston tapes and those things, but in the scrimmages, it looks like they're a pass and attack. A big receiver, Devin Carter, and big strong arm quarterback, so it looks like they want to throw the ball a little bit more than they did when they're at South. But they do have a formidable running game with, I think, SWAT cameras, the running back, and they have several others back there that can tote the rock. And so I think they'll be a little bit more balanced. We'll prepare for them a little bit more balanced than they were in the scrimmages.
I know in years past, or at least in from a fan's point of view, They did come across maybe a lot from what I would consider to be a running offense, that kind of thing. But like I said, I do think they brought in some players, and again, Coach Jinx is, I think, kind of known for throwing the ball around a little bit. So I would agree. I think we're going to see a lot of both. But I think that passing attack is going to be something that we're going to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of our offense, your offensive coordinator, Coach Capps, is generally known for what's running the kind of the spread offense. What sort of specific pressures does an offense of that type put on a defense?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing a spread does is the hardest thing in high school football is open field tackling. Hardest thing to teach, particularly with the way the rules are. You don't have time in the offseason to practice tackling and body-to-body contact. So open field tackling is difficult, and the spread makes you do that. So that's one reason you see so many teams going to a spread is because of that ability to practice tackling. In the offseason, in the spring, and the summer, you can't do that. So that's one thing. And then also the spread gives you the ability to attack any place on the field. So if the defense is giving you something, you have the ability to take it.
Right. Okay.
Spread.
I know you're not going. I know you too well. I know you're not going to give anything away. You hold things close to the vest as you should. Can we kind of expect any new wrinkles this year?
I mean, it's going to be the same Ram offense you typically see, but there's always going to be a few wrinkles, and that's why you pay the money.
There you go. Okay. Now moving on to the other side of the ball, what can we expect from the Rams defense this year?
I think overall our defensive team speed has increased. So I think we'll run fast. We keep preaching being a fast and physical defense, and hopefully that's what they'll show. We are a little bit younger than we have been years past, so hopefully running fast in the right direction instead of fast in the wrong direction. But we will be a little bit more team speed than we've had.
I definitely, in being at those jamborees and paying attention, just from a spectator standpoint, it appears that like I said, you mentioned speed. It appears that you've got, I won't say a lot more speed. We've had speed in the past, obviously, but it appears to me from a team aspect. I mean, I saw a lot of, like I said, quickness. I saw a lot of, attacking the ball. So definitely quickness and speed stood out to me.
Right.
Okay. Again, staying on the defensive side, tell me a little bit of what kind of defense do you guys like to run? What kind of pressures does that put on? I know you're the defensive guy.
Yeah.
I know that's probably in your heart. Tell me a little bit about the defense. What you like to see out of a Coach Riley defense?
Yeah, we're in the second year of running a 3-3 stack. Before that, we'd all been multiple, kind of change week to week. We like the 3-3 stack. It gives us the ability to attack a lot of different angles. It also stacking the linebackers right behind the D lineman makes the a little more difficult on the O lineman to pick up who they have to pick up on each run play. So it creates better angles for us.
Well, that's offense and defense, but as we all know, there's another aspect to the game, very important aspect to the game, and that's special teams. Tell me, I know I would assume, maybe I shouldn't say I know, I would assume that's one of the areas that, again, is probably a little bit tougher to prepare in the off season or the preseason, I guess I should say. How's the special teams looking so far? What do you think?
It's looked better this summer than it's ever looked before. I'll spend a little more time out in the summer than we typically do. It's hard to tell. We'll find out on Friday night because you can't practice the special teams in the scrimmages. So after besides extra points and those kind of things, so the kickoff and the punt and all that kind of stuff, we'll find out on Friday night. But so far, it's looked pretty good in the field.
Again, I know you're not going to show your hand, but one of the I think the tactics, the known tactics of the Rams in years past has been kind of what's called the sky kick or the pooch kick on kickoffs and that kind of thing. Will we be seeing that again this season? And what are your thoughts on that kind of tactic?
Well, it's probably our most disliked tactic that we have. Hear it all the time. Matter of fact, we're at the youth camp. We had a first grader come up and goes, "Would you quit kicking it straight up in the air, kick it down the field?" But the tactic eventually, like we said, open field tackle is the hardest thing to do in high school, and we want to limit the big plays, so pin them in on the sideline is why we do it. We probably will do it a little less this year because of that team speed, getting down the field a little bit faster on the kickoff team, and we actually probably the most depth we have in any position is kicker this year. We have three kickers that can really boot it, so we might try to kick it in the end zone a few times this year, but. Yeah, we will also pooch it as well. Yeah,
I sitting in the stands sometimes up in the booth like I am. I hear some of the comments from the fans, and 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 when it doesn't work, and again I say doesn't work, or when they field the punt, you hear that kind of thing. But then, more often than not, when you do make the tackle or they happen to fumble the ball, then it's the best thing in the world. The fans love it. So it is interesting out in the out in the stands to watch that kind of thing. But I agree. I think it's one of the things that's most liked and most hated, I think. But it's paid off well. It's
Right.
paid off well in seasons past. So. Okay, fans. Well, there you have it. This Friday, August 19th, 2016 season gets underway at home at Rams Field, and it's again against the Clayton Comets. Kickoff is at 7:30, but Coach, I'm sure you agree the fans need to get there early. It's probably going to be a packed house. I would assume to be again that county rival and all the fans coming in. I'm sure we need to get there early.
Yeah, I expect a lot of people to be there, and hopefully we can put on a good show.
We'll be right here next week and every week this season with coverage of every game, home and away. Coach, thank you for your time this week.
I appreciate it.
Good luck to you. Tune in next week, Ram fam. And as always, go Rams. We'll see you next week.